Hi. Let's turn on. There we go. Lessons of Serverless number 1. You will have no choice but to use JavaScript. Have you noticed this? All the examples are in JavaScript. I'm not the best JavaScript programmer in the world. I program in lots of languages. Only independent API consultant. I work with whatever languages my clients particularly want me to work with, though I do draw the line at COBOL. On the server side, we have a lot of languages that are available to us in addition to JavaScript. So if you take the 4 major providers, you can do Swift, you can do Python, Java, Go, F#, C#, Docker containers directly, or PHP, which is the one that I want to talk to you about today. Recommend you look at all the other languages as well. You don't have to code in JavaScript. That's the key takeaway from this talk. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Why? Why PHP? Well, PHP is used for an awful lot of web. An awful lot of the web is written in PHP, and that's not a coincidence. It grew up on the web. It was invented to solve the web problem. And there's a couple of reasons why it fits remarkably well with the serverless paradigm. And we've already covered this today a couple of times. Statelessness. PHP has had stateless operation at the request level for 20 years. Every PHP programmer out there knows how to write stateless scripts, because that's what the system works like. We never have state between requests. We never have global variables. We never hold a database connection open between requests. That's not how PHP works. PHP scales horizontally really, really well because it is stateless. And what's serverless? It's stateless. So we have a generation of programmers who understand that constraint really well. PHP is also synchronous. And I know what you're thinking. One of the nice things about Node.js, particularly when you run it with Express, is that it is not synchronous. In serverless, our point of scale is the function or the action. It is not what's going on inside your action. Inside your action, you're more likely to be in a synchronous scenario. So if you're using a node environment, you've probably got promises hanging around waiting for them to finish because you're not doing anything else at the same time. So you don't have to worry about something like that in PHP or Python or whatever. I think it just makes life a little bit less complicated. Now, an awful lot of you have probably written PHP before in your life. Probably around 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, a while ago. PHP has moved on, and we're now at PHP 7. And this is not the PHP that you remember. We've got things like a mature object model. We have competent package manager, type declarations. So TypeScript, that sort of concept, is built into PHP, type hinting. Abstract syntax trees. It's a fairly good language nowadays. It's also very fast. So what we're looking at here is a graph of PHP 7 versus PHP 5.6, and longer is better. So PHP 7 is roughly 2 and a bit times faster than PHP 5. It's a very fast language now. That's quite important for serverless because we are charged by how long our actions run. Similarly, PHP 7 uses a lot less memory, which is another key feature of a serverless cost. If you're using less memory, you're being charged less money. And that's important. PHP 7 is really memory efficient compared to PHP 5.6. And it runs on Apache OpenWhisk. I'm a bit of an open source bigot. I like the open source systems. Apache OpenWhisk is a lovely open source system because you can see what's happening underneath the hood. It's quite nice. I wrote the PHP runtime for it, so I think it's quite good, obviously. Hello world just looks like PHP. We have an entry point, we have our parameters coming in, we return a service result, which is a associative array. It's very, very easy to write in, no more complicated than writing in JavaScript. So that's what I want to tell you. The key thing I want you to take away is that there's plenty of choice in the serverless world. Don't feel you have to follow the tutorials and write JavaScript. Use the language that makes the most sense for you.